fapping?
What's fappening?
Fapping with the homies.
Tonight, the part of John will be played by Voltron.
Oh, shit.
Yes. I finished it last night. It is awesome.
So now you got to do a set of lions, right?
Well, no, it is the lions. Like it all.
No, I'm saying like now that's your plan to just do like a set of lions and then you have them like it all set up.
If it didn't cost like $200 to do that, I might.
Oh, so you're just gonna deconstruct that one to make the lions?
If I want the lions, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was the plan last week, was to have the lions on the show, nature figures.
Well, no, I have a friend who's gonna. I'm trying to get him to make the figures, but
okay.
Regardless, I'm not doing 2 sets of that.
Okay,
that set is $175 plus tax, and I have a second one because I got it signed by the creator, so it's over there.
So you already have the second one,
but I'm not going to open it because it's signed by the designer.
What does that mean? So what? It's signed. Big deal.
All right. Shall we cast the pods?
Sure. Let's cast away.
In 3, 2, 1. Oh. I don't have the script up. Okay.
Oh. You need a script to say, "Welcome to Geekodrome, baby," with a weekly round table of all things geek. He's just Jon, and I'm Jon and Stugots, and I hope you are all in, baby.
I am all in on Preacher.
You need a script for that?
Well, I like to make sure I get it right. I always forget things.
Oh, that's right. It's fine. How was that any different than what you did? How? How was it any different?
Not at all. Not at all. So welcome to Geekodrome.
I did this for 77 shows already. I need the script for the opener.
Why? Did you skip a show?
I don't know. How many shows did we do?
This is number 79.
Oh, okay. So we've done it for 79 weeks. And you're like, I need the script, but I can't open. I have no idea. Look at McMahon. Where's the Here's Johnny cue card? I'm not going to know how to call out Johnny Carson without that cue card.
Yeah.
From Burbank.
Well, I just want to make sure I remember everything because I have changed it once or twice. Little changes here and there, like removing names or, some such. But,
Well.
But, at least I'm not botching my planchas like Brie Bella. All right.
You could botch a disaster kick like Cody Rhodes did the other night in his match with Nick Aldis. There's a good 2 feet in between his foot and Aldis's head. And I get it. It's the end of the match. You're tired. You're exhausted. You're sweaty. Aldis could have been a step off, but geez.
But plus he was running the whole show. I mean, he was an important man.
It's tough being executive producer or something, and then you're still on camera. Believe me, I do it every week on the Eat Up show. I get it.
Cheap plug.
I know how to sneak it
in. All right. So should we start with wrestling or Preacher?
Oh, no, let's start with Preacher.
All right. Preacher has been sort of our, twice a year kind of deal because we hit it at the beginning of the season. We hit it at the end. Because really going episode by episode recap, it's really not the kind of show we do. All right. So what did you think of season 3 of The Preacher?
Man, it was crazy. Hold on, I'm just pulling up my hot pick before I forget it.
No, that's the end of the show. That goes at the end.
I know, but I had to pull it up. That's why I have the link to send to you.
Oh, okay.
Because I know my, plus my computer I know is going to lock up because my internet's all jacked up because of the storm. All right, so that'll be
thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Stay safe.
Man, that the whole thing was just. It was like you knew it was all coming to a head. You know what I mean? Like you knew. Like the only thing I can say I wish that we had would have been a fist fight with Jody and the gunslinger.
Yeah. But they were really two separate stories. So
I know, but they were coming to a head at one point because there was Jody, right there at the bus station. When Tulip got taken, so it's like we could have had it. But
it would have been pretty badass.
But man, the whole thing, start to finish, that episode was cool. That vampire flock that you end up having in New Orleans was cool. The old lady converting everyone.
Yeah. And then Cassidy just turning on all of them.
Yeah.
Or actually, not Cassidy. It was the other guy, Hamish.
Yeah, the other dude.
Yeah.
Now, just refresh my memory. In Interview with a Vampire, who played the vampire that Brad Pitt comes across?
Tom Cruise.
No. The other one.
Marius.
Yeah. Who was the actor?
Oh God, I can totally picture him too. It's Spanish guy.
Not Antonio Banderas.
I think it is Antonio Banderas.
Really? I haven't seen the movie really since it came out. So and that was what, the 90s?
1994. Yeah. I haven't seen it since the 90s either. So yeah, so Lewis was Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise was Lestat, and Claudia was Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
Well, it's not the Christian Slater character.
No.
He's the interviewer.
Yes.
Armand was Antonio Banderas.
Yes, Armand. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Marius was from the second book. So, I read these long time ago.
They tried so hard to make those a thing, but it didn't happen.
Well, it's actually being turned into a TV series now.
It would probably do much better.
Yeah, probably. I think it'll do well. Because they did this movie. They did Queen of the Damned, which sucked. But it had Aaliyah, who looked hot in it. She was all right in it.
Yeah.
But everything else in it kind of sucked. So we'll see if that comes out, we'll have to check it out. But so we had that going on. We had Hitler working in a subway, which was kind of hilarious.
Oh man, they did some really cool stuff with the Hitler character.
Yeah, I mean the Hitler thing totally not in the comics, but played for just great comic relief on the show.
And then at the end of the show, it became it's going to be like a big player now.
Well, didn't they take him back to hell?
Yeah, and
that's right. He beat the devil.
He takes over Satan's chair.
That's right. He took over at the end. Who knows? It may just be we don't see him again, but I have a feeling they'll keep working.
I have a feeling we will be seeing him again.
Yeah, because ultimately it's going to come to a head with everything, with God and the devil and everything else. I don't remember the timeline of the stories in the comics because again I haven't read them in years, but all three major storylines were like from the comics, which was great. The soul stuff was not, but other than that, like it all worked well.
Well, let me tell you, I watched a YouTube video of a breakdown of the villains of Preacher, and just from seeing the artwork with with the casting, it was done really well. Yeah,
all of the secondary characters looked like they did in the comics for the most part that I recall. Yeah. Obviously, the primaries they've changed up a little bit, but that was since season 1.
Yeah, because Two looks like a black girl in the show, and she doesn't really look like a black girl in the comic book.
Well, considering she was a white girl with blonde hair, she looks nothing like that in the comics.
What do you mean? She looks nothing like it.
Cassidy, moderately similar.
Yeah.
I mean, Irish vampire, punk rocky.
Yep.
And then, Dominic Monaghan, he looks really close to Jesse Custer in the comics.
Oh yes. The changes, where parts of his physical appearance don't match up, it still works.
It does. And really the character is the same. It's just, hey, people can't be changed to look like drawings.
Yeah, exactly. So you do your best.
Yeah. I will say one of my favorite reoccurring bits in the comic was the John Wayne thing and the lighter that says "fuck communism."
Yes.
And I was so happy to see that in season 3.
It was cool.
Yeah. It's just it's his guardian angel. And it was just great to finally see that like happening, like when he was underwater in the coffin. Yeah. So there was just so much like fun throwback stuff that they had been like avoiding for one reason or another. The grandmother was almost exactly like she was in.
Oh my God, it looked just like her.
Oh, and she was just as evil.
Yeah, yeah. How could she sign away someone else's soul?
She's evil.
I know.
And again, the soul.
How could you sell a car you don't have the title to? It doesn't make sense.
Well, they gave her a piece. They gave her the soul in exchange for something or other, each of them, because that's how she's prolonging her life.
Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying. She signed over Jesse's soul to the devil.
Oh, that's true. I don't think she had any of Jesse's soul.
So I mean, how could you do that? You don't own it. I own it. It's mine. You can't sell my car. I have the title to my car.
Well, the Allfather had part of it as well.
Right, he actually had the part of the soul Jesse gave up. I get that, but she didn't. Grandma didn't.
Maybe because they're the same bloodline. So
I don't know. I can't. I could sell your soul to the devil. You have to sell your soul to the devil. I can't.
I don't want to sell my soul to the devil. You sell your soul to the devil.
No, but that's not the point.
Oh, okay.
If you can't sell my television, it's my television.
Well, if there's a purge on, I can come in and steal your television.
That's a different story. Now, don't cross the streams. I just wish they would have explained how she was able to sell Jesse's soul to the devil.
That's true. I had forgotten about that bit. Yeah, because if he did anything to her to kill her, he would be the one ending up in hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the deal she already had with him or something.
Maybe, I don't know. But I really love how they had the devil portrayed. That was pretty cool. He seemed like a big jackass.
I know, it was fun. He was the fun devil.
It was fun. It was so different than any other depiction of the devil I've ever seen.
Yeah. And unfortunately we won't be seeing much more of him after this season.
No. The only other version of the devil I think that was as fun was in what was it, like in 2000? There was that Jesus movie that CBS did with the dude with Elton from Clueless. And there's a famous actor whose name escapes me, plays the devil, where he tempts Jesus in the desert. And he's wearing like an Armani suit. And he was really cool and suave, And it was like, hey, that's a pretty cool devil right there. But this one was probably even cooler.
It was. See, I always like the idea of the devil is cool and suave. Because nobody wants to make a deal with
God's a square. Yeah.
Like, that's just it. Like, the devil has to have charisma. The devil has to be appealing. If he doesn't, it's not an interesting character. And you don't see why people would want to, work a deal with him.
Right.
But that's why Pacino in what was the movie with
Devil's Advocate?
Devil's Advocate, thank you. Where he was just amazing in it. And then by the end he's just chewing scenery because it's just like, well, the whole thing is conflating anyway, so it's just time to let it all loose.
Yeah. He was so larger than life in that movie. So full of charisma, and you couldn't take your eyes off the guy in that movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, in any movie, but that's because he's that great.
I know, but it's like when you look at Pacino's career, it's like obviously he's had better roles and bigger movies, movies that were definitely more successful and more what's the word? Prolific, I guess. But that movie was just fucking awesome.
It is. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's not a great Pacino movie per se. It's not Scarface or Godfather 2, but man, oh man, it's fucking good. It's as good as can be.
To be fair, it is a Keanu movie. It is not a Pacino movie. Pacino is the supporting character in that. But
man, oh man, I like that was probably the best Devil ever.
Yeah, I can't think of one that's better. As much as I like the one,
except George Burns, maybe in Oh God, You Devil, where he plays God and the Devil.
He wasn't acting tour de force. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Especially at that point, he was in his late 80s, I think, when he did that movie.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was pretty much acting into his hundreds. So let's be honest. So.
Yeah. He that one scene where he's driving the sports car singing "Old Black Magic" was pretty funny in that movie.
Yeah. All right, let's take it back to Preacher. So the other major storyline was with Herr Starr trying to use Jesse to usurp the All-Father position and to, oust Humperdew, who was
when he let those Humperdews loose to fucking roam the streets, and they're all just like getting hit by cars or falling. And I hope it's a running gag that never fucking stops on that show. I hope there's a Humperdew walking around every fucking where imaginable.
That would be fucking hilarious. Just Humperdews in the background of like every scene.
Yeah. Just walking around going, oh, 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 oh.
Well, the other question is, are the Humperdews going to kind of stay around the compound area, or are they going to spread across the country?
Oh, they're going worldwide, baby.
Like Titus.
There's going to be Humperdews. They're going to be doing a scene in Australia. There's going to be a fucking Humperdew going, oh, good day. Oh, good day.
Are you saying Humperdew worldwide?
Worldwide?
So, although I will say that the scene after they kind of blow up the Allfather and then find that soul, which I don't want to know where he was hiding it.
It was up his anus. They said it last week.
Yeah, I know. Before. I know. They said it, but it's just like,
oh. Like, and it falls out. But you're like, ugh.
And they're just fighting in the guts, trying to get the soul. It was a bit much.
Yes.
Hilarious, but oh my God. By the end, you just see that white suit, bright red.
Yep.
It was bad. So with that, so I don't know, I still love this show. I have to say, like, it's just so over the top and fun, but with such like and deprived that it just it's so much fun to watch.
When Starr says at the end, he's waiting for his favorite torturer to come to work over Cassidy from Bensonhurst. I was like, hey, that's right, baby. Bensonhurst in the house. It's like people know Brooklyn when you say Brooklyn, okay? But Bensonhurst is very neighborhood specific. And it's, it's maybe 6 blocks or 9 blocks, across, and maybe another 8 blocks, deep. So it's like, when someone says it, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that is very specific and you have to know the neighborhood. You have to know Brooklyn pretty well to get it. Although
it's not like Williamsburg where everyone knows because, that's where all the hipsters are, or what's the other one? Greenpoint, or Prospect Park. You know what I mean? Like, those are the areas that people who aren't from Brooklyn know about because that's where they go. Yeah. So for for Bensonhurst or Dyker Heights to like come up in something, to me, I always pop because I'm like, oh, that's someone who really knows.
Oh yeah, that's somebody with dedication, or just a writer from that area.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's someone who knows it. That's someone who knows.
Yeah. Although, was that a better torture than putting him on the rack and then kind of having to wait for the sunlight to come across the room.
Yeah. Oh man.
That was so bad. Right up there with Hamish is like, well, things are different. I'm a vampire now. Thunk. Whoosh.
Well, he takes his hat off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I liked Cooper.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you ain't gonna see him no more.
Nope.
There was one other. And we finally saw Hairstar get the scar on his head.
Yes.
And the Allfather points out the obvious. You look like you have a penis for a head.
Penis.
And if you read the comic, you knew that was coming. It was just a question of when.
When it was coming.
Yeah. And again, in the comic, I don't remember exactly when it happens, but it's just by the end of everything that happens to him at this point is just, it gets a little brutal.
Yeah.
Have you read the comic?
No, I have not. My only exposure to the comic book was watching the video that I told you about on YouTube this past week.
Okay. So I don't want to ruin any of the surprises, but Hairstar gets pretty worked over through this series.
Yeah.
It's starting at like this point. It's just, one thing after another to him. Although I'm questioning how much of certain things they'll do, just because of the nature of society has changed.
Yeah.
And things like the views on homosexuality have changed.
Oh, okay.
So it's things like that. But I don't really want to get into it because that becomes a whole nother discussion.
Okay.
But, all right. So we're in for Preacher when it premieres again next year then?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Waiting 1 year.
It's like, oh my God, we have to wait till next June? Yeah. Could be dead by then.
I know, right? We might. The question is, will we have Game of Thrones or Preacher first?
Well, we know Preacher is definitely for next summer.
Yeah, it's a summer series. And I think Game of Thrones is actually supposed to premiere around the same time. Oh. So we'll see. But the comic ran, I want to say 9 volumes, maybe 10. So there's a question of how long is they going to run the show for?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I actually have to look at the comics and just figure out how far along they are. But those are in the other room, and it's kind of boring to watch somebody.
Yeah, but I know that like some of the stuff changed. Like like the scene that we saw with God saving Tulip from being destroyed, from being killed. Did that happen in a really early comic book?
Well, I want to say that I don't remember her ever talking to God. As far as I remember, Jesse was the one who talked.
I only know from reading, on Reddit, people like talking about stuff, was that it was an early issue of the comic book where God saves Tulip and tell Jesse not to look for me.
Yeah, okay, that's right. That does happen early on, but it's like literally her only connection, not an entire season of her God protecting her. And again, like the first season pretty much was the first issue of the comics with some other things mixed in.
Yeah.
Like Arseface is supposed to happen a little later and isn't from Andale initially. Okay. Never goes to hell. So all the hell stuff is added. And it, but effectively so. All right. So we're in for next season. And we were all in for some wrestling this weekend. All
in, baby.
So, did you check out anything from Starcade or Starcast?
Well, I didn't check out anything from Starcast. I did check out matches, the wrestling matches on All In.
So did I. I watched that. I watched most of it Saturday night. I missed the first hour for the most part, unfortunately.
The Briscoe brothers really are the greatest tag team in wrestling right now.
Oh, really? See, I completely missed that one, and I'm not familiar with them, unfortunately.
They, you should look them up on YouTube. Some of the early Ring of Honor stuff from like a few years ago. They really are awesome. They could fight. They could wrestle. They have a great gimmick of being just two country boys. Just want to kick ass, and they have some, there's some wild tattoos, and they've had some awesome 6-man matches with their own dad coming out to be their tag team partner. Their dad's not a wrestler. The dad owns a landscaping business, and they fought. You know him as Cesaro, Chris Hero, and their manager at the time, Truth Martini. Awesome 6-man match, and like I said, when you throw in the fact that it's their dad, who's not a wrestler, getting in there and mixing it up, pretty fun stuff.
So, is there any relation to Jack Briscoe?
No, they actually spell it differently.
Okay.
Briscoe Brothers affiliation.
Okay, because they are kind of legendary, the original Briscoe Brothers.
Yes.
So I was just wondering if there was
both NWA World Champions as well as NWA World Tag Team Champions.
And if I want to hook you, I'm gonna hook you.
I'm gonna hook you.
Yeah, there are legendary stories of Jack Briscoe just hooking people in.
Well, supposedly when WWE took over WCW Nitro, Jerry Briscoe.
Oh, I meant Jerry.
Was told to stay at Shane's side at all times in case something happened to him. So it's like at that point he's already. I think he was like in his 50s or 60s. It's like, someone's going to walk up to Shane and maybe start something. They will think twice with Jerry Briscoe next to him.
Well, my favorite is that on 83 Weeks, Eric talked about, that Jerry was there and laughed about him being security. And I'm going,
but it's true though.
Yeah, in my mind, listening to this, I'm going, you really don't know that much about Jerry Briscoe, do you, Bischoff?
Because it's like no one's gonna whoever the baddest guy on the roster at that time. Let's just say it was Scott Steiner. No, and I'm not taking anything away from him. Jerry Briscoe would kick his ass.
Yeah. There was a story on Something to Wrestle, and I'm gonna blank who it was. How during some celebration or something, somebody snuck up on Jerry and put a move on him and then ran away. And that was the only way he got away with it.
Yes.
I wish I remembered the story better because it was just great. And
may have been Bradshaw.
It sounds like it might have been Bradshaw. Yeah. But it's just kind of the kind of thing where people did not fuck with Jerry.
No.
Bradshaw's a badass. I will not take anything away from him either. But
man,
if JBL has to try and pull shit just to put a move on Jerry Briscoe.
It just shows how badass he is.
Yeah, it just shows that he is another level.
Yeah,
of badass, not just a badass. All right. So let me see. I have here. Should we do a quick rundown of the card then and do it that way?
Nah, we just talk about the highlights.
Okay.
The Pentagon Junior match versus Kenny Omega is something I was really looking forward to because they have two very, very different styles. I was surprised at the twist at the end with the match, and I thought that was awesome because, Pentagon Jr. really wrestles with full clothes, his hands are covered, his arms are covered, so you don't really ever see him, too much of his physical appearance. So to say that his physical appearance looked off that night, you really wouldn't know.
Well, no. So it was Pentagon Jr. through the match. Remember, the lights went out after the match, and they flipped.
Oh, okay. Then that's where I got confused.
Yeah.
Wonder why. Okay.
Yeah, because that was definitely Pentagon Jr. wrestling the whole time. And then it was Jericho doing the ambush.
Jericho coming in, though, and ambushing Omega was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It really, really was.
And then he just promotes his cruise.
Of course.
So
Chris Jericho is just the wrestling all-star. He is the modern day living legend. There's no doubt about it. The guy's wrestling for every single company pretty much at the same time.
Well, you do know that he was scheduled to have a Fozzy show that night in Kansas, I want to say.
Yeah.
So he's billed there. So everybody's expecting him to not show up for All In. He literally comes in, does that spot at All In, runs off, catches a private plane, and shows up in time for his spot at some festival. I want to say the.
That's why you never know where it's going to be. You never know when Jericho's showing up.
That's what made it so great.
Yeah.
Let's see. I was very surprised that, the Boots did not beat Hangman Page over Joey Janela. Because those Boots, I was just expecting them to go for the pin.
Those boots are made for walking.
Yeah. I mean, it was a solid match. But then you had, the Joey Ryan bit at the end, which it really elevated it to a whole nother level.
Joey Ryan, and at first I didn't like him. And then I heard from a mutual friend of ours about how cool he is when you go to meet him. And that kind of changed my opinion of him. So I know a lot of people say, like, oh, the stuff he does doesn't really belong in wrestling. If people are paying to see him come out and have a match, then whatever he's doing, it belongs in wrestling. Because obviously it's working.
Yeah, I mean, he's not overly graphic. I had never seen him before. Well, I shouldn't say that because I've never seen him before All In. But the penis stuff was a bit much for a family show.
It is a family show, but at the same time, it's like just a penis.
Well, it's more so the sweatpants bit than the
and the chant.
Well, the chant and the guys in the penis costumes came after that.
Yes.
But he was revived because it's like, in the sweatpants.
Yeah. And
it's just like, oh, come on. But obviously he's going for like that 70s porn gimmick.
Oh, and it works. I mean, the guy's wrestling all around the world. And when he gets asked, the obvious question of, hey, you ever going to go to WWE? He's like, I don't know. Like, you're just in this business to make money. And I don't see how it can make more money going to WWE than I'm making right now with my gimmick. And he's right. He goes to WWE, that gimmick's out the window. And he has to start all over again with new branding, a whole new gimmick that he has to make work somehow. And hope that it takes off so he can make money. At the same time, he'd be losing money because it's money he's not doing his independent shows where he's making big bucks.
Yeah. No, yeah, because he wouldn't be starting as like a top tier guy at WWE.
Yeah, he'd be starting in NXT, the stipend that they give and everything like that. And like I said, he's got to come up with a whole new gimmick. Yeah. And this gimmick's working.
Or at least a toned down version of what he's doing.
Which I don't know. I have no idea how you tone that gimmick down. He does a dick flip.
Like, I've heard.
It's like, so, it's, and that's his, that's one of his main moves. Like, you wait all match for it. So there's no way to change that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a whole thing with the power of the penis.
The power of the penis, baby.
Where Paige was grabbing him by the crotch and
and then he flips him. That's the dick flip.
Okay, that is the dick flip. That was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Although the part that grossed me the worst, just because I'm a bit of a germaphobe in this way, he took the lollipop out of his mouth and stuck it in Paige's mouth.
Yes. Oh, sometimes he takes that out of his trunks and then puts it in the other guy's mouth.
Yeah. I can't with that part. Like, that was just a bit much to me. But I was amazed by how well Stephen Amell held himself in the ring.
He did really good. I mean, for an actor who, he had one match before tonight.
Which was a tag match.
It was a tag match, yeah. And he was wrestling on that night. He was wrestling one of the best guys going today. He did look like he belonged. He didn't look like Mr. T at WrestleMania 1 just doing some boxing moves and an airplane spin. I mean, he looked like he could go.
He was going off the turnbuckle through a table. I mean, he was committed. Like, it's not like when you have like a football player or an actor come in as a third man.
Yeah.
This guy was somebody who obviously trained and was like looking to do a solid one-on-one match. And I mean, obviously he's going to get carried a little bit in this,
Oh, definitely. Oh, Christopher Daniels definitely carried him through, but he delivered on his end.
Yeah. Like
he came for it.
you can always tell when somebody puts in the effort, when they want to be there, when the goal is to be there, especially if it's, like somebody coming from the outside, like Ronda Rousey doing her first match.
Yes.
She wants to be there, but a little green,
Definitely.
But she's trading on her name. But I credit her, for wanting to be there, wanting to put the effort in.
And doing the work.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing her on Raw once a week, but she's putting in the work, 7 days. And it's showing. Like, she was on Raw tonight. Well, she wasn't wrestling, but, she was on Raw. Was it last week she did a match? And, it's better than it was when she started.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing singles matches now, and it shows that all the difference. So, I like when they're willing to put in the effort.
Definitely.
Let's see. Although I have to, give credit to Jay Lethal for bringing back the Macho Man.
Oh, man. Jay Lethal is awesome.
He really was. And he was just not just the wrestling, but the acting involved too.
Yeah.
Because he went out with Lanny Poffo.
Little black machismo, baby. Yeah, daddy. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And he was with Poffo in his corner. So you know that he has the blessing from the family to do this.
Well, he had Randy's blessing when he did the black machismo gimmick in TNA.
Oh, okay. Again,
Randy actually showed up and did a couple of appearances with him, and he blessed it. Definitely, he's like, you're doing something great, so keep it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Again, you got to remember, I wasn't watching wrestling then, so I didn't know.
That's okay. I keep track.
I know you got to just fill me in sometimes.
Yeah.
So I didn't know Randy himself had given the blessing, but the fact that
definitely.
But to have Poffo in his corner also throwing the frisbees, of course.
Yeah.
Which that gimmick, still love it. He's the poet laureate of the WWF.
Lethal does an awesome Ric Flair impersonation too.
Does he? I'm gonna have to look that up.
If you look it up, you can look up the video of Jay Lethal and Ric Flair promo together. He's doing Ric Flair to Ric Flair, and if you close your eyes, you have no idea who the raving lunatic is. And you see Ric Flair, who loves the impersonation, he's getting madder and madder, and it was like, oh shit, he's gonna have a fucking heart attack.
That's awesome.
I know all the signs and symptoms of a heart attack, and he had them all in that fucking in that promo.
Just because he was laughing so hard, or because he was pretending?
No, because he was going crazy. He was pretending to hate it so much, and then he was getting more and more incensed and enraged as Jay Lethal kept impersonating him, and it was crazy. It's like, oh, he's gonna drop dead right here in the ring.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look for that promo because
my god, it's awesome.
He was great in the ring, but then it's just like you see the shoulder slaps, and he literally becomes another person, and his wrestling style shifts, and his movements shift, and then he gets slapped on the shoulder again, and he's back to Macho Man, and it's just amazing that he's willing to like put in that much effort to have his own style to it.
Yeah,
like two different styles.
Yep.
So which other matches? We had the ladies match, which I unfortunately missed. I caught some highlights, and it looked like a solid match to me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch any of that one?
No. The only other match really for us to talk about is the NWA World Title match.
Well, there were two. There's the main event as well, but really the NWA World Title match is the main event at the middle of the card.
Yeah. Well, they did that this way. The Bucks would close the show because they were a big part of it of the event happening.
They're very much part of the promotion. Like,
yeah,
it's not just Cody. It's Cody and the Bullet Club.
It was Cody and the Bucks that pulled it off. The three of them did it together.
Yeah. So I was aware that. So but those two really were like your main events, although one was in the middle of the card.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go with the mid card then, and then we'll end it with the end of the card. What did you think of Cody versus Nick Aldis?
It was a very good match. Nick Aldis did great in everything leading up to this match, the promotion of it, how he was carrying himself. if he ever thinks as himself as, hey, wow, I didn't do good enough, he did great. The build up for this match was not like anything I've ever seen. These guys were straight up professional with each other. They gave each other a lot of credit. Spoke very highly of each other. It was not a classic, your regular heel babyface, going up against each other. It was, hey, we're equals in this. I have the championship belt. You have an event that you want to have a match at. Let's go and do that. Seeing Cody win the belt was awesome. I am a big fan of Dusty Rhodes, and seeing Cody fulfill his own dream, following his father's footsteps, was something to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was crying at the end. I mean, that was.
I mean, his whole family was there. His sister, his mom, his sister Teal was tweeting photos like backstage of Cody's mom looking through the curtain, and then she would like hide her face, like she didn't want to see what was going on. Then she'd go back to look, and seeing that stuff was really cool. Seeing the guys that Cody brought down to the ring with him, Diamond Dallas Page, Glacier, Tommy Dreamer, his brother-in-law, and his father-in-law. It was really cool to see. And I really love those track jackets.
Have you ordered one yet? Are they even for sale?
No. I'm sure they are. I wouldn't be buying them.
And DDP did come out middle of the match to check on Cody and get in the way of Nick Aldis for a little bit. But yeah. I mean, there were one or two botched moves, but shit happens.
Oh, Brandy took the bump.
Oh, that was awesome when she took that bump. Like you could just hear the announcers, like whether or not they knew it was coming, they were just in disbelief.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh my God. And it was just amazing. Even she was willing to, take that.
Yep.
And then, it was just great seeing him, follow in his father's footsteps and get the belt.
Yep.
Be NWA World Champion. Daddy. So, and then we have, Okada Skrull, but I don't know. I wasn't.
That match ran 12 minutes too long, apparently, leaving the Bucks match cut short, which is really shitty because it's like, dude, they're the fucking reason this whole event's going on, and their own match got cut short.
And they had a hard out at 11.
Yeah, of course, because satellite time, it's all big money.
Yeah, so it's not like WWE where they can play with games and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so you could tell it was rushed, like they were literally trying to just go high spot to high spot, and and unfortunately for that, they skipped some of the psychology. They started early, but then it was just like after that, it was just like we got to get the moves in. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
What did you think of the match? Because I know you're not a flippy dippy guy.
Yeah, I'm not a flippy dippy guy. The Bucks do make it work pretty uniquely, no different than the Rockers or the Rock and Roll Express. But yeah, a little too flippy dippy for me.
Yeah, well, the Golden Elite, I think were a little less so, but still doing some pretty kamikaze moves.
Yes.
Right up the ramp in the middle of the thing and over the stairs. You had the guys literally taking turns going off the turnbuckle, off the top turnbuckle onto the group of guys waiting at the bottom on the ground. And they kind of just went back, and you could tell when they were doing that like 3 or 4 times in a row. It's like, all right, really? Obviously, like there's no psychology to that. It's just everybody gets a turn. Yay!
Yeah.
And I think the 12 minutes would have made a huge difference because it would have told the story in the ring more. There definitely was the story to the ring. There was some great moves like, unfortunately, who's the Buck with the black hair, long black hair?
Nick.
So like when Mysterio tried to pull the 619 on Nick, he had his hands up, and then they have to double team him and put him back in, and then he gets 619. Like, I love the story elements to that.
Yeah.
And again, I love Flippy Dippy when it's not for the sake of Flippy Dippy.
Yeah.
Because I love a psycho who's willing to like, well, all right, not quite New Jack level psycho, but I love a psycho who's willing to like put their body through everything just to
And
get
they
that one
do.
perfect move.
They do. They take some hard bumps, and they are always on the road. They're constantly working. I love their DIY mindset of we will get this done one way or the other on our own.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
big believer in it.
I wish they had gotten that missing time.
Yeah.
Because that Okada Skull match was all right, but yeah, I didn't love it.
No.
I was loving what was going on in that final match, but
Yeah.
it needed time to breathe. I think is the best way to put it. And if they
And
had
for the
that,
audience too, so it's like you can't, you want that audience to have the high and lows of a match, and instead of hey, we'll cut for that 12 minutes. Well, now it's just high, and then after a few minutes of it, the audience is tired.
Yeah.
No,
I mean it only went 12 minutes, but it really felt longer. Just because it really was a high adrenaline match.
Yeah.
So it felt like they were packing in so much more.
Yep.
But yeah, I wish they had a little more time to let it all breathe and go from move to move instead of, all right, quick, to the next move, to the next move, to the next move. And it's great that the Bookers won, but they earned it. And it's
definitely. Yeah. And I will say, anyone who's criticizing Cody Rhodes for booking himself as the winner, he does not control the NWA. The NWA is run by Billy Corgan. So if Cody is the NWA World Champion, it's because the owner of the company believes that he is the person to take the company in the direction that they want it to go in. It had nothing to do with the event.
I'm sure it had something to do with the event, but
I'm sure the company, the event selling out so quickly, because it's like you get that belt when you show that you can earn. Okay, so Cody showed that he could earn with that event, but the fact that he was a co-executive producer of the event didn't factor into him winning that belt. No. Because next month there's not an event for Cody to co-executive produce.
No, then it goes back to, well, he's got to show up in an NWA show and defend.
Yeah, and he will. And he'll show up to Ring of Honor and defend. He'll show up to New Japan and he'll defend it just like he did, just like he's been doing. So when Billy Corgan feels that, hey, we're not getting the exposure or moving in the direction that we want with Cody as champion, that's when it'll change.
Yeah. Belts move around. It's just the nature of the business.
Yeah.
So we'll see more from Cody. I'm sure they're going to do this again next year at this point. Because if they could sell out 10,000 in a day, what's to stop them from trying to go even bigger next year?
Oh, yeah. No, next year they would definitely go bigger.
And hey, maybe StarCast will be even bigger.
We won't be attending.
Unless we are invited as podcasters.
No, I would love to attend. I would love to attend if we get invited.
I told you about my email exchange. Enough said.
Yes. So we will not be buying our way into Podcast Alley.
Especially if they don't tell us how much it costs.
Yeah. I'm either an invited guest or, hey, I just don't attend.
I'm just going to put up a tent outside. Talk to people as they walk in.
Yeah.
That'll work even better.
We could do that next time. We could do the whole Stuttering John gimmick from the Stern Show where you just show up and just start asking questions and be like, from CBS Media.
Till they figure out who he really is. And
yeah.
they try and shut him down. That would be fun, though. But you know what, Stugots? What we will be invited to?
What's that?
The hot picks.
Oh, you snuck it in on me.
Damn.
Jesus.
So you were looking up a little something on your phone earlier tonight before we started.
I have. Let me go to it. It is a YouTube channel called The Nerd Writer. Did you lock up there, John?
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, no,
What?
because
I'm not familiar with.
I'm sorry.
I was
Okay, you could find them at youtube.com/nerdwriter1, and it's the number one. And what they do on this channel is they break stuff down for you, interesting takes on different topics, such as the shaky economics of MoviePass, Darth Vader, the icon, um, why Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the best Harry Potter film. A very deep and I won't say deep because it is only 8 minutes. Breakdown of William Shakespeare's relationship with Dream from the Sandman comic books.
Oh, I love those issues.
The fundamental flaw of Batman versus Superman.
There's only one.
Yeah, that affected them. Both their moms were named Martha.
Well, that's is what it is.
What the Truman Show teaches us about politics. The Office was as the birthplace of cringe comedy. I mean, there's so many awesome topics that they break down here. And again, you might not agree with some of the takes, but man, everything's done really well. They have a Patron and other stuff, but I don't support Patrons, so I just will say go check out their YouTube channel and subscribe. And it is youtube.com/nerdwriter1, and it's the number one.
I don't support patrons, but I do support patronesses. Okay,
Yes.
So I ask you, Stugots, are you into that sort of Tom Clancy style books, movies, those spy type things?
I think the only Clancy book I read was Teeth of the Tiger, and that was with Ryan's son or nephew, something like that. There was only one book, and I was disappointed that it wasn't more books.
See, I just kind of stopped reading his books way before that. I read the early ones.
But I was a fan of a couple of the movies.
Yeah, well, Jack Ryan has appeared in what? Well, there's been 3 actors up till now. I think it's 4 or 5
I thought
movies.
it was 4 actors. 4 actors.
So we had Alec Baldwin.
Right.
We had Harrison Ford. Then we had Ben Affleck.
And then Chris Pine. Didn't he do
a movie? Right. Chris Pine. He did, didn't he? I completely forgot about that one. Well, now we have
the Office dude.
We now have John Krasinski.
Yes. You have Jim Ryan.
Yeah, Jim Ryan, which was an interesting YouTube clip that somebody made. But on Amazon now, we have the 8-episode series, Jack Ryan, which is, loosely based on those books. And it's just
Did he look at the camera a lot and be like?
Surprisingly not. Surprisingly not. No,
there's been 8 episodes trying to bang Pam.
No, now it's a doctor who's
Pam's
rather attractive, blonde doctor.
Wait, you trying to say Pam wasn't attractive?
I'm saying this doctor is very attractive.
But Pam wasn't?
This doctor's more so.
Oh.
And he's an analyst. And again, it acknowledges none of the other books and movies and stuff. It's just
it's his own thing.
He's an analyst who oversees the Yemen communications and is finding out that there's,
I love their hair care products.
Yes. There's activity going on involving some, terrorist and potentially a terrorist cell. And it slowly builds from there. And he, of course, because he was the analyst who was, the one who kind of spotted the details, he sort of becomes part of it from the CIA perspective. Him and his boss, Greer. And so they're the ones who go out to, the Middle East and try and take care of things with the CIA group that's out there or the military group that's out there. And it's just how they're trying to stop this terrorist and all of the little intricacies involved therein. And if you love this kind of spy like story, it's a fantastic series. 8 episodes. I mean, I knocked it out in a weekend. There's only one piece of the story I didn't like, and it involved a drone pilot doing stupid shit. But other than that, it's just such a good series. And it just flies by.
How long is each episode?
Under an hour.
Wow, so that's a lot of TV.
Oh, they go for like that 42 to 45-minute thing so they can get it on TV eventually if they want to.
Yeah, yeah.
But it tells one solid story. And
it sounds like it.
It's so good. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. But that's enough for the hot picks, because if you want to find out more, like where to find us, you can check us out at geekodrome.co. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, really any place you find your fine podcasts. If you want to hit us up,
we're everywhere your podcasts are.
We're all up in your podcasts.
Yeah.
If you want to hit us back, we're at Geekodrome Pod on Twitter and at Geekodrome Podcast on the Facebooks. I am John. I'm at just John on the Twitter, and I may soon be appearing someplace else. I'm working on that.
Ooh, wait, what is this?
It's a follow-up from last week. All right. And Stugots is at Don Stugots on the Twitters. And he hosts the Eat Up Show, which I believe I saw some live video this week.
Oh, yes. We're back from our summer break. We opened up the season premiere of the Eat Up Show as we kick off season 3, cooking live at the headquarters of Intensity Academy Hot Sauces. They're a big sponsor of the show, and they invited us out to their cook at their brunch that they had the other day, and we cooked and performed for a bunch of people that were in attendance, and it was a lot of fun.
Sounds good. What'd you cook for them?
Breakfast sloppy joes.
Yum. Pretty
good stuff.
All right. If you want to see the replay, that's sitting on the Facebooks for the Eat Up Show.
Yes.
And tune in, because that means, there's at least, 10 weeks of cooking coming?
We have 10 weeks done and being edited. We have live shows that we'll be doing from time to time, breaking in to break up the tape shows. So Day Drinking will be back in full force. Kitchen Hacks will be back. I think that'll be the first episode from that gets done next week. That'll drop on Tuesday night or Wednesday night at 6:05 Eastern time. And yeah.
All right. I look forward to it. And you know what else I look forward to? It's going to be too sweet.